If you could, tell us your name, your school affiliation, and how long you have been involved with speech and debate.
My name is Mike Edmonds. I am with Colorado College, and I've been at CC for the past 23 years. I started in speech and debate when I was in 7th grade at New Providence Junior High School in Clarksville, Tennessee. So that's almost, well, I'd say 40 plus years in the activity.
Wow, that's quite a significant period of time. If you could go back to your mental Rolodex, could you kind of talk to us a little bit? How did you get hooked in debate? 40 years ago, Clarksdale, Tennessee. I mean, what about debate hooked you in?
Forensic speech and debate it was the activity that the parents wanted their kids to do. My school in my neighborhood was a fairly middle class or lower middle class neighborhood, and parents were always interested in activities that could advance the education of their kids, and also activities that actually taught or enhanced what was being taught in the classroom. So for my parents, it was a way to work on public speaking skills, a way to apply those skills, a way to improve critical thinking, and it was, in their mind, an activity that would give me an edge in being prepared for college. So they encouraged me to do forensics and debate, as well as the Latin Club, were the two things that I was just sort of expected to do. So my family was very encouraging. The community was very supportive. In fact, my church used to host people who did interpretation and forensics and DI and HI and poetry. We used to do showcases at my church. And so it was really a community thing, and not only people from my particular middle school, but people in the general community.
Wow. That's amazing. That's awesome to hear that. Are there any experiences or events that stand out as you kind of look back through that time?
Sure. Yes, that brings great joy. I can remember we didn't have a lot of money as a program, so parents had to do a lot. And two things come to mind when I think about that. One was my father would always agree to drive, and he'd buy donuts, but he would never judge. He would felt very uncomfortable about judging. And one time when a group of us had convinced Northwest High School to run their first tournament or so, I was able to convince my mother to judge, but she ranked everybody a 1 and didn't understand the whole process. So for me, they were very proud of the activity and very supportive of the activity, even if they didn't understand the activity. They understood the power of rhetoric, and they also understood the impact that this activity could have on my development in education. So they were supportive, even when it was out of their comfort zone. And that's important for me now, because the activity has changed so much in 40 years. I think as a college administrator and as an alum of the activity, that is important that we're supportive of the new form and the new evolution that the activity has taken on. So DI, HI, policy debate, public forum, of course, aren't going to be the same things that we did 40 years ago, but they're relevant and wonderful activities for times such as these. So I think it's important for us, people who are getting a little older, to be supportive of new ways, new things, and new philosophies, and not necessarily to get caught in a time warp. And so, like my parents, I want to be supportive of an activity, even though it may stretch my comfort zone.
Wow, that's wonderful to hear. And I know that means a lot, and I think that's what makes this community so great. One of the things I've heard people talk about is how debate prepares you for life. You know, if you could share a little bit about how it's impacted. You said you mentioned you were a college administrator, but also could you share with people, you know, you have these challenges throughout life too. So how does debate help you negotiate those challenges? Or, you know, you maybe had a debate round or a speech event where it didn't go so well. How did you overcome that adversity?
Well, if you talk to most college and university deans or presidents now, they will all tell you that one of the obligations of universities and colleges now to teach students is resiliency. And I think that's what I got out of my involvement with forensics, because at the end of the day, you learned how to win with grace, and you also learned how to lose with grace. And more importantly, you learn the importance of being in the struggle. And you learn the importance of being in the round, of being with, having to do the debate or the interpretation in front of a judge who may or may not know as much as you. So you learned how to adapt, which all leads to the concept of learning how to be resilient, how to stick to things, and how to see things through. And I think it helped me be ready for the tough conversations, because as good as I may think I am, we always have to grow. We always have to evolve, and we always have to hear feedback. And that's one of the things that's really tough for people today to understand, is that communication involves listening, and it also involves hearing and understanding those things that you may not want to hear. And as Mr. Cunningham told his daughter Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird, we all have blind spots. And so the activity also helps us identify our blind spots.
Oh, that's good. It's clear that you've had a lot of success in debate and speech, and it's clear that you have been recognized for that excellence over a long period of time, and as a key coach. Talk a little bit about what that recognition means to you, being a key coach. What do you think the key coach society, what do you think that means to the activity as well?
Well, wow, that's a powerful question, because I can remember one of my first Emory tournaments, judging. And I think I was a freshman at Ole Miss and had come over to judge. And I can remember Judge Pelham talking to the judges about the importance of the ballot, and the ballot being used as a learning tool. So when I think about the key coaches, I think about people who are 100% dedicated to learning, and not only just the discipline of forensics, or not just learning how to win, but learning how to live well, learning how to live with courage, being good people, and to be asked to join that group of coaches, many of whom I've known for years and admired, is sobering, especially for me, because I'm not an active high school coach. So to be recognized or by a group of people who are tremendous in helping people learn and helping people develop and helping have conversations that matter, really it's sobering and moving is probably the best way I can describe it.
That's awesome. Well, I'll leave with this last question. If you have other thoughts, it's great to hear those as well. But as we kind of move in this day and time, we have a lot of young people that are wrestling that they want to participate in speech and debate, and even the ones that are participating sometimes don't know why it's beneficial for them to do this series of activities. Could you speak to what it means for them to participate or why they should join, especially as we continue to evolve and grow and diversify ourselves as a society and as people on this planet?
It's important for us to remember that speech, in many ways, since the time of the Roman Empire, has either been used to advance people or to hold people back. And for us that are in the activity, we have the opportunity to encourage people to realize the power of rhetoric, the power of speech. It's one of the original liberal arts. It's still relevant today. It's the tool, it's what's needed for people to be able to have courageous conversations and to be able to live in difficult times and to address difficult situations. When you think about the activity, the tournament is just a very narrow part of the activity, but the ability to talk about things that are uncomfortable or even not familiar is something that people in this activity do day to day. So just the exposure of being able to practice that in a safe setting actually prepares you for the so-called real world.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to share, or words of wisdom, advice, perspectives, memories, stories?
Well, I could share a lot. I just would say that it's important to remember that speech is powerful, and it's just not trite. It's powerful. It's a tool that is so needed for one's success, and that our opportunity to hone our voice is critically important, but also the opportunity to hone voices for those who won't or can't speak for themselves. At the end of the day, is an obligation and a responsibility of a learned person.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Beautifully said.